Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast, sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, Global Septic, and AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. I'm Aaron Vantile, joined tonight by sports editor Alec Dietz and sports reporter Josh Kirschenbaum. And fellas, did the 2A softball district tournament live up to the high bar the EVCO season set? Your takes.
Yeah, kind of.
Not really.
Oh.
All right. Well, we got a thumbs up and a thumbs down.
It was fun,
here.
but it wasn't nearly like as bonkers as the.
There was only so much. I mean, there weren't any like previously undiscovered rules that came up in the seventh inning of any games.
Right, and like the team that won it was expected to win it.
They were close. There were the first round, especially. Three of the four first round games were decided by 1 run, and the other one was decided by 2 runs. That was fun. Lots of close games, and then only like 2 like complete blowouts. So
the top story from this tournament: Centralia is through to state after finishing second. They eked out a 3-2 win over RA Long in the opener. They beat EVCO champ Aberdeen 7-2, and then they lost the finals to Ridgefield 5-2. It's their first state appearance since 2011, and we're pretty sure it's the first state appearance for any Centralia program since 2018.
I guess that's team sports.
Team program.
Obviously, Von Wasson.
Obviously, our king
Champion,
Von Wasson,
yeah.
who will be
He's golfing tomorrow, baby.
golfing tomorrow in
We missed
Liberty
you, Von.
Lake.
He's back.
Hell
He's
yeah.
back.
Let's see. Elsewhere at Rec Park, WF West fails to make state for the first time since 2003. Is that true?
Pretty sure that's true.
I feel like there was. Yeah, I think that is right. They blew out Mark Morris in the pigtail. Then they lost to Ridgefield in the first round, lost 7-5. Came back and beat Woodland 25-14. What?
Yeah.
In a
I said there was
loser
one
game.
blowout.
Oh, that game was nuts. It got to the point where, like, I think it was in the 6th inning.
Oh, yes.
The ump, like, gestured. They were on the field with no lights, and he just gestured to the sky, and he was like, someone turn the lights on. And
So
it's like, there's no lights, dude.
So what they ended up doing was, because this was obviously the last game of the day being played, so they ended up having to turn the lights on to one of the fields that did have lights. They turned on the lights because they take like 10 minutes to get warm, just in case it got too dark and they were going to make everybody stand up and move over one field.
Well, that's fun. They should have just switched field every inning, you know?
Yeah, because
Mix it up a little
basically
bit.
just WF West pitching couldn't stop much of anything.
Yeah.
And especially that game. So they were up like 8-0, and then Woodland scored 7 runs and tied it at 8-8, and then it was 10-8, and then it was 14-8, and then it was 14-10, and then it was 25-10. Like,
It's too much.
2 grand slams in that game.
Oh, that's cool. The WF West then lost 8-7 to Aberdeen in a winner to state game.
That game was bonkers. They were down 8-4 going into the 7th inning. They got 3 runs with 1 out, and they had the tying run on third base for the heart of their order, and then promptly got out twice to leave the tying run on base.
Ouch. Avalon Myers finished with 11 hits and 2 home runs in the tournament.
She had one of the grand slams.
Okay. Who had the other one?
Rachel Gray?
Yeah. Sage Brindle also hit a home run in the Ridgefield game. So they could hit. That wasn't their problem at all.
And defending state champion Tumwater also out. They beat Woodland 4-3, then lost to Ridgefield 4-3. Both of those were Thursday. Then they lost to RA Long 1-0 on Friday.
Ultimate pitcher's duel.
Eliminated.
That
So
game, yeah.
your state bids, Ridgefield, it's their first district title since 2004.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then number 2 seed is, well, not seed. Centralia finished second, and then Aberdeen and RA Long are both in.
So yeah, that's a little crazy right
If
there.
somebody would have told you back in end of March that the EVCO softball would get 1 team through to state, who would you guys have get? Oh, I guess they would get
Aberdeen.
2. Yeah.
Aberdeen is
League
Centralia.
champs, Aberdeen.
So the final 4 are the 2 league champs and then the 2 number 3 seeds.
Well, when you put it like that, it
Actually, wait,
doesn't
no,
sound so wild.
RA Long's the number 2 seed out of the GSHL.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
But still, if you look back and there's no WF West, no Tumwater, no Rochester, who we argued were 3 of the best teams last year.
No River.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
And I mean, talking to David Orr after the championship game, like obviously, like that semifinal was their Super Bowl, pretty much their championship, like just getting to state. And then once they were in, especially going against Ridgefield, who I think was the out and out favorite coming into it, Like they were super relaxed. They honestly kept it close. I mean, it was 5-0 and they came back with a couple of runs, but they did not shame themselves whatsoever in that final game. And I have to think they're feeling pretty good going to state.
Yeah, they should be.
That team, that proved they can beat anybody. That Aberdeen was the only team they did not beat in the regular season in the EVCO, and then they beat them.
All right, 1A district tournament really fast. Tenino lost twice quickly and got knocked out the first day. They'll return 8 starters next year, though, 4 of whom were freshmen this year. And then Montesano won the title game 8-7 on a walk-off 3-run homer. Not relevant to us, but very exciting. Weren't you guys just telling me the Montesano not actually that good? When I was like,
no, we told you that
powerhouse?
Montesano had lost to Aberdeen 3 times, and
Hoquiam.
Aberdeen was up. Or sorry, Hoquiam, you're right. And Hoquiam was up 7-5 with 2 outs in the 7th inning. It was a banger of a game. It did push back the 2B title game by
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, really quick rant. There is no fan crossover between 1A and 2B softball. Like, no one that is like a 2B fan is like, I'll watch Montesano and Hoquiam play, and vice versa. No one cares from the other side about Adno Acosta. Just play the games at the same time on separate fields. Like, why are we pushing back the 2B
I think the
game?
Pocklington family probably cares about Hoquiam, as they are from Hoquiam.
Okay.
There
fine,
you go.
Fine.
He's there.
There's one family. And I think they would have been okay, to be honest with you. But you have multiple fields. Like, don't push back the 2B game to start at 7:30 at night. Like, just use the fields.
All right.
Well, the good news is that
Quick rant over.
the 2B softball title game took an hour.
Yeah, it was fast.
Yeah, so 2B District Tournament, a.k.a. the Jesse Gilbert Show, comes east. Top story, Adna loses to Acosta 3-0 in the finals. Not to focus on an out-of-area athlete too much, but here's Acosta ace Jesse Gilbert's final line for the tournament as a pitcher. Through 4 games, she pitched 27 innings and struck out 66 batters. That's out of 81 total outs. She gave up 1 hit and nary a run.
And that hit was bullshit.
It was awful.
So
It was
Adna,
popped straight.
Adna gave itself 2 hits in the scorebook. One of them I took away completely. The first baseman fielded the ball and then literally fell down.
Okay.
Like ass over tea
that's-
kettle. It was a little comical given the fact that they were winning. And then right after that, I don't remember who was batting. She popped a ball.
Danica Hallam.
It was Hallam. Popped a ball 50 feet in the air. And I don't know what happened, but it was to the right side of the infield. The first baseman and the second baseman both like bolted in the wrong direction and then realized that neither of them were going after the ball and tried to recover. And the ball bounced like 15 feet away from either one of them, which is really remarkable on a softball diamond, which isn't it huge to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hit in the book, although it is...
I had to explain that was a hit in the book to Alec because you can't get punished for just not being in the right place.
You got to make a play on it, and
And that was the one hit.
Wow. So, pretty good, Jesse Gilbert?
I'm saying Jesse Gilbert is, as Kira Gardner was to Alec, Jesse Gilbert is to me, just that sort of person, that 2B athlete out
From the Pacific League.
From the Pacific that you're like, man, there's something right here.
Yeah. Yeah, she was good. The big story was how Adna's bats would do against her, and they did nothing, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
All right.
It was kind of a wait-and-see game.
Yeah, Adna got runners on, but can never do anything with them. Kind of a footnote, like who is the pitcher that pitched against Don Larson in his perfect game? Like, that guy had a really good game, too, and it just gets completely forgotten.
No. The one I always remember is the Warren Spawn Juan Marichal game, where it was like 13 innings and ended 1-0.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sims.
Ava Sims, Adna's pitcher, struck out 15 and gave up 3 hits, which is a pretty good. Like, you would take that.
Yeah.
Well,
Going
and
into
she
the
should have
district
given up
finals.
fewer, because if you'll note it, if you remember, like PWV played Acosta, we'll get into that later, and they continued the strategy that they had of just walk the best player in the league, in the area. Mm-hmm. Just put up 4 fingers and let Jesse Gilbert walk to first as long as the bases aren't loaded.
Yeah.
And Adna didn't do that. And the first time they threw around her and she just drew a walk the old-fashioned way. And the second time she hit the home run that ended up being, the game-winning run in the district title game. And the third time she hit a double that put 2 in scoring position.
So, Gilbert, pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe just walk her.
All right. Meanwhile, in the rest of the tournament, PL Valley finished 3rd. They beat Toledo 13-5, lost to Acosta 2-0 on Wednesday. Then Saturday, they blew out Raymond South Bend 12-1 to make state. They came back with 3 runs in the top of 7th to beat Forks in the 3rd place game 5-3. Lauren Emery struck out 37 batters. Lauren Matlock and Sophia Milanowski both hit homers. And then Toledo loses to PL Valley, came back and beat Tudor Lake on Wednesday. Then they lost to Forks and lost to Raymond South Bend Saturday and were eliminated. Rainier beat Calamo when they came back from the Lightning postponement. Then they lost to Forks at Borst on Wednesday and were eliminated by Raymond South Bend. Onalaska and Napline both lost loser-out games at Montesano on Monday, but we have discussed these already. So your final district placers, number 1, Ocosta, number 2, Adda, number 3, PL Valley, number 4, Forks, number 5, Raymond South Bend. What's wrong with this picture?
It's the revenge of the Pacific 2B League.
A mere one C2BL team making state. And
man, the media doesn't want to talk about this because it hurts the narrative.
Yeah. Also, like, if you take PL Valley, like, they're like a legacy Central team pretty much.
I was saying that.
You take them out of the equation. I can't remember the last time a Pacific team won the 2B tournament. I don't know if it's ever happened.
I can't imagine Ocosta's ever won.
Well, and Forks was 1A up until like 2 years ago.
The only time I can remember anything about Ocosta softball is like 12 years ago. I was downstairs working on something, and I got a phone call from like an Ocosta softball mom. And she was asking questions for about like the district softball tournament or something, like just locations and times or something like that. And I was like, yeah, this. She's like, well, we've got a pretty good team this year, so we're pretty excited. And I was like, all right, good luck. And they were out in 2 games.
I thought you were going to say, well, runs. We have this 4-year-old who can throw really, really hard. You're going to want to remember her.
She was just a decade early. It's cool to see Ocosta come in and shake things up, though.
That's the other thing about Jessie Gilbert. She's a sophomore.
Yeah. So 2 more years.
2 more years of that. And I mean, you look, obviously, Ava Sims is a senior, right?
No, junior.
Junior. So she's back for Adna next year. You get the Lisa Liddell at Ani. She was a sophomore this year. Riley Cruz was an 8th grader at Rainier. Like, there's going to be some.
Ava Sims might be a sophomore.
Ooh. So more time with her.
Yeah.
I thought she was a freshman last year.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There's going to be good pitching that just keeps getting better kind of across the area.
All right.
Well, and this year in the Central especially was kind of the year of,
it was top heavy.
It was well, it had Adna and kind of everybody else. But in years past, there had been just a dominant pitcher kind of almost at every team, like the Haley Rainey's, Olivia Matlocks, Bailey Elwell at Rainier last year. And this year, like, there really wasn't that at any school, maybe other than Adna with Sims and
Bethany Bowen had good flashes for Toledo.
But no one that was kind of like overpoweringly good. They were getting no hitters in every game, all that kind of. And also, just to shout out Haley Rainey really quick, she helped Cal State Fullerton get to the big dance for softball regionals. They ended up not qualifying for super regionals, but it's pretty cool to see kind of a local pitch for D1 school there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's kind of the Central probably wants to get back to kind of finding some of that dominating pitching talent that the Pacific kind of had. Like we mentioned, Lauren Emery striking out. She didn't get 66 in 4 games, but 37 strikeouts at the tournament is not too shabby there.
Yeah.
And shout out RSB. I don't know the last time they've made state either, but they were really strong, and I think they were the 4 seed coming out of the Pacific.
I like that.
Yeah,
the seeds all ahead of them also got in.
Exactly. So, just year of the Pacific this year for sure. And they just kind of had more reliable pitching at large.
All right, we'll get to the brackets in a minute. But first, this podcast is brought to you by Global Septic, providing septic service and portable sanitation for Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Cowlitz, and Grays Harbor counties. Do they do any work in Yakima County, do we think?
They should.
Well,
providing extra porta potties at Carlon Park? Is that? Yeah, maybe. Septic pumping, inspection, and riser installation, commercial septic pumping, of course, grease trap services.
Who could forget?
And obviously, they'll rent you a porta potty and a sink to go with it.
I mean, feasibly, if you had a truck, you could rent the porta potty and then take it with you, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. Why not?
So then they really service all of Washington.
Well, I mean, they are like they could theoretically just drive a truck to any county and be like, we service the entire state. Visit globalseptic.com. That's GOEBEL septic.com, or give them a call at 360-736-2167. You guys want to talk brackets?
Oh yeah. It's not as messed up as last year. I really don't have a lot of hot takes.
I have qualms, but they're too small.
We'll start with the 2A softball bracket. Did the committee get it right? I'm looking at it now. Centralia's a 9. They'll play Linden. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, Long, the 16 seed. Okay.
Centralia could potentially rematch with RA Long if it goes chalk in the second round, which is kind of a bummer. But also, I mean, last year's bracket was a complete disaster.
Yeah.
And at least this year, for the most part, they kept the district teams away from each other.
Well, and
they
also
did like a decent job of it.
The way it worked, I was looking from Centralia's point of view. I was like, oh, they could have to play a district opponent, like a district game rematch. But then I realized that all of the opponents from the district they played all of the District 4 teams in the bracket. So, and I know nothing. North Kitsap's the 1, Cedro Woolley is the 2. I don't know anything about them. People at Rec Park kind of thought that Ridgefield might have a shot at the number 1 seed, but
yeah, I was kind of surprised to see Ridgefield not get the number 1 seed. I mean,
that was
4 is just so historically strong, and even if WF West and Tumwater and those schools are quote unquote down, the district champ from District 4 has gone on to win like how many of the last state championships?
most of them,
Several.
like WF West or Woodland. So yeah,
Well, and Tumwater last year.
last
So
year.
like, just I at this point you have to give District 4 the
so
benefit.
yeah.
of the
Alec
doubt.
and I were joking. I was joking with Alec that they were either going to give Centralia or 16 or RA Long the 16 seed and make them play Ridgefield in the first round, and they didn't. So good on
nice
you,
of them.
committee. Yeah.
Like I said, compared to last year, they really did a much better job separating the district teams because last year was just really disappointing how they set it up. So,
District 4 has won 5 of the last 6.
Who was the last one?
Let's see. Tumwater, Woodland, WF West in 2017, Othello in 2016, and then WF West in 2015.
yep.
So,
Hey, I don't know. I think Ridgefield's got a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
and then WF West in 2012 too, and Woodland in 2010. So yeah, they've won most of them. All right. So yeah, the 2A bracket gets that's fine.
Yeah. Passable.
The 2B bracket, only 12 teams in this one.
That's my qualm with the brackets. They're all different. Like, come on.
Let's see. So the number 1 seed is Adna. The number 2 seed is Warden. The number 3 seed is Okanagan. And the number 4 seed is Ocosta. Does Ocosta have a qualm?
I don't think so. They finished 3rd in their league, and
Ocosta was 3rd in that league? Who was number 1? Forks?
PWV.
PWV.
And then
Forks
really?
was 2, and then Ocosta. So I think, you have to take those regular season games into account, even if they look really strong and win districts at the end of the year.
Also, the fact that Adna is number 1 is proof that Ocosta does not care about its seeding, because Ocosta can literally beat anybody with Jesse Gilbert pitching. Like, when Jesse Gilbert is on, they have to, in a 7-inning game, they have to like their chances against anybody in the state. So I don't really think they care about the ranking.
And Adna has swept Warden, so clearly they're better. So I think the bracket turned out okay. And if anything, you're quote unquote punishing Adna by putting Ocosta on the same side of the bracket as them. You're basically saying okay, you lost the district championship. We'll put the team that beat you on the same side. So you have to get through them to get to the state championship.
I would have split those two up. Like, you've got the 2 teams from the 2 the 2 finalists from District 4, which is the most powerful district in the state. Like, just split them up. Swap Okanagan and Ocosta.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
But
other than that,
I was just telling Josh this too. PWV is, I think, has to be thrilled with their spot because they face they're the higher seed against Kittitas. They come in at number 6.
I mean, they have to play a first game, which is
but sometimes that can help you, right? So then you play. I think they're going up against Okanagan.
They would have Okanagan in the quarterfinals,
right.
And then they win that, they would be looking at a Warden, a Forks, or a
Warden
Brewster.
game.
Like, that doesn't strike fear into anybody.
They don't have to go against anyone in the district really that they haven't beaten before up until the state title game. And if Ocosta gets through Adna again, if that's how it shakes out, PWV has beaten Ocosta before. So if I'm PWV, I really like where I'm seated here, and they're the defending state champs. I know they're missing a whole lot from what they graduated last year.
Forget that,
but that I think they've got to be pretty happy with that seating and where they got put on the opposite side as Ocosta and Adna.
Yeah, that's not a bad spot for them. And Adna, let's see, they would play 2:00 on Friday against the winner of Raymond South Bend or Colfax. I'm sure they're fine with
that.
Either of those options.
Yep.
And then presumably they would play Ocosta at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning, not to jump too far ahead of things, but
That would be a big game. That's entirely off of can Adna make an adjustment. And I honestly was surprised a little bit that they couldn't. I mean, that was the first time I'd watched a full Adna game, but from what I'd heard about their hitters, like once you get to the highest levels, the best thing a hitter can be is adaptable. And I kind of expected them to get struck out the full first time through the order, and then the second time or third time you see somebody, start to time them up a little better. And to Gilbert's credit, they didn't at all. They looked pretty much they were as late the second time around the order and the third time around the order as they were the first time around the order.
okay.
So, I mean, now the question is with the fourth or fifth time, does that change at all?
All right, and then the 1B softball state tournament. We've got Mossyrock in there. They're the number 6 seed. It's only 8 teams in this bad boy. They play Sunnyside Christian at noon on Friday.
I said this last time. Sunnyside Christian's not a real place.
Sunnyside? Sunnyside's real.
I'm sure Sunnyside Christian has great people. Sunnyside Christian
It sounds like a daycare.
It sounds like the school in a horror movie. Like Sunnyside Christian is where, like, they Sweeney Todd kids. Like, don't ask what's on the lunch menu at the Sloppy Joe's at Sunnyside Christian School.
What is you talking about? I'm trying to remember Sunnyside Christian. I think they beat Valley in a state championship basketball game.
They
Like
played somebody at the
ago.
state tournament this past winter.
Yeah.
We talked about
They were doing stuff. I think they played
they've
well.
been around.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a program. They're a Christian school at 1B level.
Yeah, let's see.
like 60 of their
2000.
brethren.
Yeah, they beat Willapa Valley 46-41. Valley didn't score in the fourth quarter. How
They
was that
smiled
game?
the whole way.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, there's your history lesson. This podcast brought to you by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery. You guys got any good bits?
No, let's
I'm
just
about
get
to
through
leave
it.
my apartment for the next week, so
So when you come home, maybe Elam's will have stopped by and just outfitted it with all the new mattresses.
owned by friend of the show, W Plus baseball coach Jesse Elam.
It is not.
Rats.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the program, yeah. If you need to, if you've had a long day at the ballpark and come home and just want to sit down to a beautiful meal, do so in a well-appointed dining room. Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery can provide you tables and sets, dining room seating, storage, and a couple accent pieces just to keep it classy, You're eating that takeout pizza, you look over at that centerpiece on the table, be like, damn, honey, we made it.
Bring back that Miners burger.
Yeah, Minor Burgers, overrated.
Yes,
We
we've been
agree on
saying
this.
that. Everyone's getting mad at us, and I'm like, I waited 40 minutes for a burger, and it just wasn't that good.
Was it salty, though?
Kinda, I
They're all
guess.
so salty.
But I was just like, I don't know. It wasn't worth the wait. Maybe I remember when I got it, I was so hungry, and I was like, okay, this is gonna hit the spot, and I had to wait 40 minutes because it was so packed, and I was just like, this was not worth the wait.
No, you got to go to the sub shop downtown. That's the spot.
There's some good Mexican food out
Yeah,
there
I found
too.
a good
Oh
place.
yeah.
There's
they
some
got
really good Mexican
Yeah.
food.
Anyway, Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery is located at 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia. You can check them out online at elamshf.com. Guys, did you know baseball was also played this weekend?
We did.
Speaking of friend of the show, Jesse Elam.
In the 2As, these are regional games. 4-team regional pods, and the winner of each one advances to the state Final Four for the 2As. That Final Four will be in Bellingham, where WF West will be after they beat Port Angeles 10-0 and White River 8-5 on Saturday. Hunter Lutman tossed a 6-inning no-hitter in the first game, then came out of the bullpen to stop the bleeding in the second game. WF West used 5 pitchers to get through that second game.
Man, it's nice to have a bullpen, isn't it?
Yeah. Gavin Fugate was 4 of 7, walked twice, hit a double, hit a triple, drove in 6 runs, and also got the save against White River. Who will they face in Bellingham? Well, Tumwater.
Wow, that's familiar.
Oh, Tumwater.
We have to stop meeting like this.
Yeah, literally.
Tumwater survives the scare to beat Grandview 8-2. Then they blew out Archbishop Murphy 11-0. Alex Overbay did the opposite of Lutman, coming in to save Game 1 with 2.2 innings of relief, and then throwing a one-hitter in Game 2. He also hit 3 doubles. The T-Birds trailed 2-0 to Grandview before scoring a run in the 4th, a 6 in the 5th, and then 1 in the 7th. So we got Tumwater WF West Part 5 in Bellingham Friday afternoon.
It feels like part a million.
Oh, well, I just like how last year WF West and Tumwater softball played each other, like 5 times?
Yeah.
And they were all bangers. And this year, Tumwater and WF West have played 4 times already, and they all, like, kind of sucked. Like, Tumwater blew out WF West by a lot in over a 3-game sweep in the regular season. And then WF West beat Tumwater 11-8 in just the ultimate bullpen catastrophe, pretty much. Like, it was fun because there were stakes and it was district title, but it was not the most, like, palatable baseball.
Yeah, well, and the other thing that's weird about this is last year, WF West, again, the seeds were different, but they beat White River in the quarterfinals and played Tumwater in the semifinals, and they just did the exact same thing this year. So, I don't know who set up the bracket.
Well, this is
gotta feel like
5th
deja
time
vu.
that Tumwater's played WF West in the state tournament.
It's probably been more than that. I mean,
Well, in like the past 5 years.
Oh, yeah. Have you gotten the notes? 2016, 17, 18, and last year's semifinals, Tumwater knocked WF West out. They also played in 2013 in the state championship game. WF West won 5 innings, I think.
Oh, jeez.
It was a blowout. It was a
lot
cool game.
of history between these two teams. It seems.
Yeah, they know each other quite well. The other semifinal is number 5 Linden versus number 1 Sela.
2 teams that WF West has already played this year.
How'd they do against them?
They split against Sela and they lost to Linden. All 3 games were close.
Okay.
And yeah, this is another one where District 4 has, again, it's one of those situations where District 4 has won like most of the state championships. And then I think there's a couple years where like Ellensburg and Sela will take a win. And that's been it for the past like 10 years.
Yeah. Usually
Like,
River's better and Richfield's better, but
even then, though, they don't win.
Yeah.
Like I think I looked last year, and it's almost all. I don't know what district is Sela and Ellensburg. What are they in?
District 5, 6 probably?
5, 6, or whatever. It's been District 4 and that district for the past like 15 years. Like,
yeah,
and-
I mean, that's where the 2A schools are.
yeah, but it's WF West, Tumwater, Centralia for that 1 year,
Isn't
and
it-
then Sela and Ellensburg. That's it.
Isn't it so nice when Linden is like the newcomer?
So
Yeah, looking back over the last few years of state tournament, 2000 last year Tumwater won it.
Over
year
River.
before that, Sela. Then it was Ellensburg 2 years in a row. I think they beat WF West and
one of
they
them
beat them in the
did.
finals in 2017, and then beat them in the semifinals in 2018.
Yep.
Year before that, Sela. Year before that was Centralia beating Sela. A 19-8 Centralia team. That was an awesome year too. Ellensburg the year before that, and then WF West the year before that.
So, but Archbishop Murphy is the last one not from those 2 districts.
Where's Archbishop?
Archbishop Murphy wasn't. They're both listed for 2013, but it was WF West in the finals that year. I'm not sure why Archbishop Murphy is listed there.
So who's the last champion not from either of those districts?
Archbishop Murphy 2012. They beat Linden.
Yeah. Which, so like over a decade, it's been those 2 districts. So that's a pretty crazy run. And this year, I remember last year we talked on the podcast, WF West earned like the number 9 seed
Yeah,
or
this year,
something, which
nothing
was
crazy
ridiculous.
happened.
Yeah.
I think Tumwater ended up getting like the 5th seed. And it was like, what are we doing here? Like clearly this is the strongest district. And this year, Tumwater number 2, WF West number 3. That's
They
not
learned.
really a problem.
They adapted.
And
They got an
Sela-
AI seating committee.
And Sela's number 1.
And Sela
Linden
number 1,
number
exactly.
And Linden number 5. Like, there was nothing interesting that happened in this
Right.
bracket.
It would have been. I get why they wanted WF West and Tumwater to play each other in the semifinals, just to.
Yeah. Well,
You
and
know.
if it had gone chalk, Tumwater would have played Mark Morris in the second round, but Mark Morris got upset by Murphy.
Right. And there was a real possibility WF West was going to end up playing Babe. That game was like an 11-inning barn burner. So anyway, District 4, very strong. And they, again, it would have been nice to kind of see these 2 teams match up for a state title, but, they're both going to be playing on Saturday regardless anyway. So
Yeah. In the 1A district baseball tournament, Tenino took an early lead, but
State
lost
tournament.
state tournament. Oh, regionals, sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
It's state.
Tenino lost to Bellevue Christian 4-2. They scored first in 4 of their 5 postseason games. They had 8 runs in the first innings, but went 2-2. Bellevue Christian tied it up at 1-1 in the 4th, took a 3-1 lead in the 6th, then added a run in the 7th. Good season for Tenino.
19-6.
They are going to learn how to focus on learning how to finish games.
All
Yeah.
right.
I think just to say something nice about Tenino since their season is over, it's kind of been cool to see how they've progressed over the past I've only
100%.
been here 2 years, but last year they finished 1 game shy of state, and they just could not get over the hump. And though they had trouble finishing games this year, they managed to finish just enough to get to this point.
Well, and they were getting ahead in those games.
Right.
And like that, Ryan Schlecher was telling me after they punched their state bid, he's like, there's been a complete 180 in that athletic department, especially on the boys' side right now.
Yeah.
Football, basketball, baseball. And it's just basketball. The basketball team had the same problem with sort of putting full games together in these big moments. And that's just all an experience thing. And now they have that experience.
So it's been cool to kind of see them get, and Tenino baseball is not even like a program that's been like down bad or anything. Like they've had a history of success. So it's kind of cool to see Ryan Schlecher, who was on those teams, kind of rebuild that program back up to, this is probably where they should be in 1A. They should be making state every year, competing to do it.
Yeah.
And they're going to bring back most of their teams. So
Yeah.
All right, 2B regional baseball, number 11, Adna, on to the state semifinals.
sorry.
We said last week that Adna probably had to be feeling pretty good about where they got put, and lo and behold.
I'm sorry. I know that hurts you, though.
Yes, bothers me so much.
An 11 seed.
And
in the
And
semifinals.
beating Dear Sweet
Brackets.
Chihuahua.
Dear Sweet, well, yeah, Chihuahua, like, I guarantee they were not, like, worried about Chihuahua. Like, nobody should be. The Pirates beat Cleellum Roslyn 3-0. Tristan Percival tossed a no-hitter. And
He
then
has
they-
been good the past week.
Yeah, he's had a
showing
good-
up in
good postseason.
big
Yeah.
moments.
What is he allowed? Like, you calculated this, right? He's allowed like 2 hits over 4 postseason
Something like
starts
that. Well-
with like 60 strikeouts.
Well, and
It's, like,
this
absurd.
time this time he managed to get that last out because the past 2 games
No, he didn't. He didn't get the last out
Oh,
of this game.
never mind. He's gone 3 straight games throwing 6 2/3 innings.
Yeah. Cameron Nakano struck out the last batter.
You're right.
And then Adna beat Chihuahua 6-4 on a 3-run homer from Sawyer Terry with 2 outs in the top of the 7th.
They
That's
call
awesome.
him Tater Terry. What can I say?
Ah, the guy hits dingers.
Apparently, the
does.
guy hits only dingers.
He's like batting 200 with 12 home runs.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite MLB guy? Who was that? This is
Oh, like Adam Dunn,
yeah, okay. Adam Dunn was a good one.
Jim Thome, he was kind of in that conversation.
Frank Thomas.
Frank Thomas ruled. Anyway, yeah, Sawyer Terry, really cool. They will face Tootle Lake, number 2 Tootle Lake in the semifinals
On
in
the hallowed
Ephrata.
grounds of Ephrata High School.
Why?
Going all the way out to Ephrata.
Why?
Well,
no,
you know,
actually, though, why?
Soap Lake was too far. I don't know.
It's not even, Ephrata's not even on 90. Like, what? You have to
What is it
drive
on the
so
way to?
far. It's on the way to nothing. It's
Pittsville.
It isn't on the way. It is the destination.
like,
yeah.
I don't get why it's a host site. It doesn't
Like at
make
least
any
last year,
sense.
when it was at Ridgefield last year, nobody went because Ridgefield's not exactly a destination either. But at least it was like accessible.
Yeah, it's on 5. Like, there's hotels
And
out
also,
there. Like,
shocker, there were District 4 teams in it, so they didn't have to like go that far.
yeah. It's
Who
just-
could have seen multiple District 4 teams in the semifinals of a baseball tournament?
Yeah.
Ephrata it's bigger than I thought.
How big
It
is
has a
it?
population of 8,477 people. That's only slightly smaller than Chehalis.
Yeah.
It's
But it's
the
not
seat.
along a highway, though.
It's the
8,000.
county seat of Grant County in Central
I just-
Washington. It's an important
it-
commercial and
put it-
administrative center of
Important
the
is in
Columbia
quotes.
Basin.
Put it-
I guarantee you, important is in quotes.
Put it
in that.
along a highway. Put these games along a major highway. Like, you just, I don't know. And like, it's a bummer for us because this is going to be the one event we just cannot get to. Like, we are strapped in Yakima, strapped in Bellingham as well, and we,
It's the name of my rap album.
yeah.
Strapped in Yakima.
Anyway, elsewhere, Coopville shut out Toledo 3-0 in the first round. That's the end of the run for Toledo. It was a scoreless game after 4. Then Coopville got a run in the 5th and 2 in the 7th. So the other semifinal will be number 1 Brewster versus number 4 Tri-Cities Prep. Adna, the big outlier in this one, the Cinderella, if you will.
Mucking up Aaron's dreams of an easy bracket.
Yeah.
It's true.
And to say something nice about Toledo, what a run for Caden Schultz this year. I mean,
And
they
it sucked to see how it ended like
right,
that.
just to get the injury, and I think he was still batting for them by the end of it, but he couldn't throw, and obviously that when your ace goes out like that, it puts a wrench into what you want to do. But he just had they start the year out by sweeping Tootle Lake.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, just a really strong year. I don't have his final stats, but he just had a really good season, and I think he's a junior, sophomore.
He's a senior.
Oh, Caden Schultz.
Oh, wait,
is
no,
a
never
senior?
mind. You're right. Never mind. He's an underclassman.
So they're bringing back a lot, and Matt Gall has him they've made back-to-back state tournaments
And
here. Now
credit
they
to-
just
yeah.
have to win a game.
And credit to Matt Gall, as soon as Schultz got hurt, I mean, he was like, this is a college level pitcher who is going to be going to college. I am not messing with that kid's arm as soon as he tells me he's in discomfort. Like, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't try to squeeze a couple more innings out of him. And I talked to Caden Schultz was actually at the softball district tournament. I talked to him and he said he's already feeling better, and they're hoping that it will get better with rest and he won't need surgery or anything like that. So that's really good to hear.
What did backing up a little bit? What did Adden and Tootle do in the regular season?
Tootle swept them. They no-hit. Zach Swanson, he almost no-hit him. He couldn't get the last out.
And Connor Cox did no-hit them, right?
I don't know if he no-hit them, but he also shut them out.
And then they played in the district tournament, and Tootle won 14-4 in 5 innings.
Okay. So
I think it was 15-5.
Might have been 15-5. It was a run roll.
But anyway.
And as we know, if you beat one baseball team 3 times
handily, it's hard to beat a team 4 times.
It's hard to beat a team 4 times.
As they sometimes say, the 4th time is the charm.
Just ask Elam's Home Furnishings owner, Jesse Elam. And then
what was it? Adna boys basketball, right? Lost to Napavine a bunch and then beat them in the one game that mattered.
That is true.
Yeah, when you guys
lost
when
to
I
them
said,
3 times.
I told you guys that was going to be a good game, and you were like, "You fool! No, it won't."
When did you say that?
I said
Rewind the tape. You never said that.
I said that in the podcast
No,
going in.
you didn't.
I was like, "Could be a good game. You never know." And you guys were like, "No."
There's no way you said that.
Anyway,
You did not say that after Adna lost by 30 to Napavine the week before.
I did. You were
No,
like,
you
these
didn't.
games are all going to be
I'm gonna have to
blowouts.
rewind the tape on that.
Just go listen to the old episodes. Never have I said anything foolish. In the 1B regionals, Monster Rock is out after 2 games. They beat Orcas Island 1-0 in 8 innings.
Banger.
Easton Kolb and Cooper Young combined for a shutout. Monster Rock loaded the bases in the bottom of the 8th without a hit and won it on an air. You love to see it. And then they lost 2-0 to number 2 Liberty Christian, and it got no hit on that one.
Also banger.
Yeah. Those sound like both pretty quick games.
15 innings combined 2-1 scoreline.
Yeah.
Probably took an hour.
Anyway.
Monster Rock had a good year. Another year, another sports season for them where they beat Nacelle.
Got the monkeys
more
out
than
their
they
back.
lost to them. I'm not sure. Did Nacelle end up making the semis?
They did.
They did end up making the semis. They were the one team that I think probably had qualms with the way they were put because they were seated below Nacelle. But anyway, they had a good year. It helped when they got Tim Bowes to come in. He was a kid that was getting homeschooled and wanted to turn out in the middle of their season and just was really, really solid for them on the mound. It kind of gave them like a real ace to throw. He kind of helped them make that late run. They won the district title. And they're, I think, bringing a whole lot back next year, too. So,
Yeah.
All right. After last week, did you guys go home and enjoy the coolness of your homes? Or did you have to
I
make a
really
call?
could have more if I would have called
AmeriCool Heating
Friend-
and Air Conditioning.
Friend of the show, Centralia baseball coach, Jake Americool.
Yes, everybody. Who could forget our good friend Jake AmeriCool. AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. Your comfort is their business. They offer full-service HVAC installation services and repair with a 100% satisfaction guarantee with everything they do, just like this podcast.
Just like us.
I know you're going to say it, Josh. Visit their website, west.americoolonline.com, and you can click the bright yellow request an appointment button and
Bright yellow.
meet with a
is.
HVAC professional. You can also give them a call anytime, day or night, 360-273-3300 if you are either too hot or too cool, and they will fix that. We need to have a mini discussion. The prompt is just 1Bs are whack, specifically softball in this instance, but also baseball.
Okay, I want to prompt this. Right now, going on, the Mossy Rock softball team is playing Darrington in an exhibition
Why?
because they both basically won their districts by forfeit and haven't played a meaningful game this entire season and need practice playing other teams before the state tournament starts.
Wow.
And this is a problem.
Yeah, and
This
also,
is a serious problem in the entire 1B sports ranks, but especially it's coming to a head here. Like the fact that you have two teams that are like, the state tournament starts on Thursday and we have not played, or state tournament starts on Friday and we have not played enough games to be ready for it. So we're going to schedule exhibition scrimmages.
between two state teams that could theoretically play each other. No reaction?
What do you want me to say? It's 1B softball. Like, they're going to be fine. How's Montserrat going to do at state?
No clue,
No
because we
idea.
don't know what
No idea.
they've never played.
Is Darrington no, Quilcene hasn't played a game in 4 weeks because the teams just basically forfeited everything.
Yeah.
So they haven't played. Like, there's just a bunch of teams that are going in blind because they haven't seen competitive pitching in weeks. Mossy Rock at least had the benefit of playing teams like Onalaska, Morton White Pass, those kind of teams that were actually, somewhat on their level. And they could see some pitches that were coming at them, more than 20 miles an hour.
Which in my mind is the fix. There needs to be a way for good 1B teams to play in 2B leagues.
I don't know.
I
Well,
can see that.
and there was the whole Oakville basketball debacle where everyone in the league was like, congrats, you won the league title. You're our number 1 seed, and we're going to play JV teams against you. Like, do some shuffling, mix some things around. There has to be. And this is another thing. Like, I didn't know it was an 8-team tournament.
Yeah.
The 1B softball is only 8 teams because there's just not enough competitive teams.
And I know that one of the current, like the WIA just brought down rule changes for next year, and one of them is they're splitting 1B into basically the tiny schools and the itsy bitsy schools.
Really? They're splitting it up more?
Well, basically they're splitting it up because there aren't enough 8-man football teams, so they're letting more and more teams play 6-man football. That failed?
Yes.
Oh.
They're not splitting it up.
That's terrible. They should do that.
Yeah.
But like, other than football, like if Mossy Rock wants to play 8-man football, that's totally fine, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And honestly, I think more smaller schools should probably be playing 8-man football just for safety reasons. That's another discussion. Outside of that, I am sure that every single Mossy Rock coach would rather be a middle of the pack team in the Central 2B League than running through the 1B Coastal or 1B CVL or Pac 5 or whatever the hell they're calling it, depending on the sport, and getting to play 5 games because 2/3 of their games are getting canceled because the other team can't field the team.
Yeah, I mean, both of Mossy Rock in their quote-unquote district tournaments, because their district is just the 4 teams that are in their league, their semifinals got forfeited. They didn't even play semifinal games. That blows.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, it's great to, like, win. Mossy Rock probably hasn't, like, won at this level in a long time. Like, they definitely aren't winning at this level in the Central 2B League. But, like, they're also not playing any games, Like, would you rather be
go
like a middle of the pack Central 2B team and play every single team and obviously probably get, their butts whooped by some of the top level teams?
Sometimes.
Or would you rather win all these games and play, how many games does their football team play? Like 5?
Yeah, something like that. Like their
softball team has all their games forfeited, or they're winning in 3 innings and it's kind of just a waste of everyone's time anyway. It is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. You're both right. Congratulations. They should fix the 1Bs somehow.
Wow, we earned Aaron's approval. Crazy.
Yeah.
He wasn't listening.
I don't know. Is there a way to opt up at that? I know there are some 3As that can opt up into 4A just because there's so many 3A schools that they allow that. Can 1Bs opt up into 2B?
Yeah, I think
They
so.
should be able to. And there should
Mossy Rock should do that.
Yeah, well, you see,
They're a 2B team.
and I said, and if football's the hang up, do what Winlock does. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Or what Tudor Lake did this year. Play 8-man football and be a 2B school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good with that because there's enough 8-man schools to where it's not an issue. Nacelle is incredibly competent.
Mossy Rock's volleyball team would be fine.
Yeah,
the Central 2B League.
I think they beat all the Central 2B
Exactly.
teams.
And their
they
girls
played.
basketball team would be fine. And their boys basketball team would be fine. And their softball team might be between 6th place and 8th place in that league. But you can't be amazing at everything.
Right.
All right.
No thoughts? Come on. Give us your thoughts.
They should opt up. There's mechanisms to opt up and still play 8-man football or do whatever. And
Nacelle should probably do the same. Let's
there's
be
a
honest.
fix there, or I don't know, maybe they can combine with Onalaska or something for sports.
I don't know about combining.
Probably not going to happen, but you never know.
Morton
What they
might
said
pass
about-
Mossy Rock.
Yeah,
They could be like the
MMWP.
new Lind, Ritzville, Sprague, Washtuckna.
they just keep
whatever.
absorbing.
East County. Just throw White Swan in there across the mountains.
Yeah, sure. State golf is tomorrow. I added this to the notes because you guys didn't have it on there.
We mentioned Vaughn already.
Von Wasson playing at Liberty Lake. How do you like his chances?
He's in the top group. I don't know if he's the number 1 seed. I think he might be like the number 2, number 3. But
he's got to pull an upset.
He is in the first top group, teeing off at 7 tomorrow at Liberty Lake, which is basically Idaho.
Somebody was saying it's as far east as
it
you
literally
can
is
get.
basically in Idaho.
It is the border with Idaho. It is. You go to Spokane, and then you keep going east.
Let's see who he's.
It's probably a nice course.
I know Woodland.
Go to WIA, and then if you go to like golf, you can find the tee times.
I've got it.
Dane Huddleston from Woodland is up close to the top, and Jay Nickerson from RA Long are the other ones.
He is in the opening group with Matt Brennan from Sammamish and Rex Wilson from Burlington Edison.
Don't know anything about him. I know Luke Fenner, I think from Black Hills.
Dane Huddleston is in like the third group from Woodland.
Mm-hmm. Couple time water kids.
Let's see. Is there any WFS kids in the boys tournament?
Halverstadt made it, but he's not in the field, so maybe he had to drop off for some reason. Ben Halverstadt.
Caden Clark from Tumwater got in. Maybe he took Halberstadt's spot. Regan Broom from Tumwater and Braden Conrad from Tumwater.
Yep. So one Black
and
Hills.
And then Gabe Johnston, I think, as well.
Luke Fenner from Black Hills.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the
girls' Conrad kid made it. He might be the sub in. I don't recall.
He's pretty low down, so probably.
Yeah.
And
anyway.
then girls' side, Natalie Eklund from WFS.
She is in the second group teeing off.
Yes. Yeah, she pulled that big upset. I don't know if we got to talk about it, but she pulled the big upset to win the district championship. She lost by 8 strokes over 18 holes in the league tournament to Aberdeen's Britt Ratchich, and then came back in the district tournament on the same course at Tumwater Valley and won by 1 stroke against her to win the district championship, helped WF West win their first team district title in 20 years. And I think they sent 4 girls there. Grace Owens, one of them. She was
Macy Shannon and Kendall Rasmussen are also in there.
Yeah. So, if they do well enough, they got a shot for a team title. Anytime you send 4 or 5, and you kind of get up there in the standings, you could win a team championship. So anyway, that's a couple other girls made it too. A Centralia girl, Samantha Johnston, is kind of near the top, I believe. There's a Rochester girl, Isabella Messias, and Audrey Williams. And then I think there's a Black Hills girl, Ellie Johnson is in one of the last groups. So a lot of District 4 representation for golf.
Yeah. And then the 1B, 2B boys and girls are at Tumwater Valley.
I'll be there bright and early.
Oh, man. They start off at 7:30. I was going to go work in the office tomorrow, and I was like, maybe I'll get around it before work, but no tea times.
You can go there to cover it for
6.
us.
Yeah, you want to go follow Braden Salmi around?
No.
I don't know if Luke Salmi's going to be able to get me the cart this time around. Chauffeur me around.
It'd be awful if you had to walk an entire 18 holes.
Yeah, when I did state last year, following the kid from Woodland, I think I walked like 20,000 steps that day.
Yeah, I think I walked when I was following Vaughn around. So
he is in a group, or Braden Salmi from Adna is in the 2B tournament. He is grouped with Jackson Large from Goldendale and Chad Strebeck from Odessa.
Sure,
8:20 tee time.
And then there's Andrew Grimm and Josh McGuire. So Adnan brought 3 kids. Again, like if all of them do well enough, you could, compete for a state title there. I'm sure the winner last year from the 2Bs was from some school I had never heard of in my life. It was like
Cross Point?
No, it wasn't even Cross Point.
No, it was a boarding school.
It was some kind of
Sound
boarding
Christian?
school. No, it had like 5 words.
They had houses.
Yeah.
Really?
So anyway, there's going to be some program that has some awesome golfer in it.
There's a lot of Christian schools in this tournament here.
Yeah. Oh, shocker.
I know. Weird.
Anyway, so Adna's got a shot, and then they had one girl that made it. Natalie Humphrey squeaked in as the 5th bid on the girls' side for Adna's program. So it's probably been a minute since the Adna girls team has sent someone to state. I know they're kind of like a new program. Maybe they had one in the past, but
Absolutely,
they've had one in the past, but I think they're
absolutely wild that Wahkiakum is the local power in girls golf. I don't know why. It's just so funny to me.
It used to be Ilwaco. Well, Ilwaco for boys golf was massive power a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have some stories about Oahu golfers at districts? They
They
just whooped you.
They were good. We didn't. Did we play Ilwaco? They might have been a different classification or something. There was a kid from North Beach I played with when I was like a sophomore. And he was a really good golfer, but he was just a head case. And so, like, he was in the group ahead of me playing a tournament, and he, like, sliced the ball out of bounds. We just heard a bunch of like cussing and screaming. And then we see him like walk past us back towards the clubhouse. And one of his teammates is like, come on, what are you doing? He's like, oh, fuck this, I quit. And he was on the baseball team the next day. That kid was awesome.
Yeah, we don't have anybody doing that this year for us, right? Where you do the golf tournament and then you go off to...
No, I don't think
I don't think so.
I remember Ari Long had a kid that did that. He played in the golf tournament and then the next day was running track for them, which...
Yeah, I don't think we have any of those.
Also,
Calkins did that when he was in high school.
Legend.
Did not win a state golf championship and was pissed off and won a state baseball title like 3 days later.
The 1B, 2B boys state golf champion last year went to Charleston Academy of Notre Dame.
What?
Yeah.
In Washington?
Yeah.
That's not real.
Yes, it is.
From their website, Charlton Academy's house system is drawn from the 1,000-year-old tradition of Christian education exemplified by the colleges at Oxford.
It's like a monastery?
They have here are the badges for their 4 houses.
It's
This
literally
is like
Hogwarts.
a Harry Potter shit. What is this?
And they have this one golfer who shot 144 over 36 holes.
Well, good for him.
Just wild.
Well, I'm sure he had a blast. Yeah,
Getting to wear casual clothes for once.
Yeah. And now, Alec, you are going to brief us on everybody in track.
Brief.
125 local kids qualified.
Only take us a couple hours for him to list everybody off.
Including, I put the track wrap on the page last night, and I was like, Jesus, I got to break this up. It's too much for one page.
I didn't want to leave anyone out that made it.
was so nice of you.
72.
In the 2Bs.
That's too many.
Yeah,
That's too many.
So the top 6 in each event in the 2Bs advanced past districts. Yeah, too many. Top 4 in the 2As, top 3 in the 1As. Then the 1Bs is just kind of a shrug emoji. They hosted a quad district meet, but still only advanced a few runners per district. So, whatever.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I get where they're coming from because they're only bringing 12 athletes to state for the 2B and the 1Bs as well, I believe. So, like, obviously, trying to get as many kids to state experience is important. At the same time, at the 2B District 4 meet at WF West, I was there. There weren't stakes.
Yeah.
Like, there just weren't. The finals had 8 or 9 kids competing in each running event, and 6 of them made it. Like,
it becomes like the meme about running from a bear. Like, you don't have to be the fastest. You just have to be faster than like the 2 guys next to you.
I mean, like, and again, get as many kids as you can, the state experience, but something needs to be fixed with the way that works because, like, districts should have a bunch of stakes. Like, the poor 1As, like, there was a Tenino kid that had to qualify. He finished 4th, Carson Shaw, in I think the 110-meter hurdles, and he had the state standard time to get in, but he wouldn't have got in if he hadn't reached it, and he's more than capable of making it because it's only the top 3, which is how districts should be. Like, there should be stakes. You should be one of the top runners, at least in the top half runners in your event to make it. So anyway, it just sort of an absurd number of kids kind of get to go. And the 1Bs were just a mess because they basically hosted 2 meets that, 4 districts competed. I think there's only 8 districts in the state.
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3, and 4.
West of the Cascades and east of the Cascades.
Basically. And they didn't just take the top 8. They still sorted it by district. So there were a bunch of Mossy Rock runners that were like faster than some kids from that finished in the top 8, but didn't get to go to state because they weren't in the top whatever of their district, which is stupid. Because if you're going to just host a quad district meet, take the fastest runners, period. Like, have the stakes there. Like, the top 8 should advance to go run at state. You shouldn't have some weird district representation when you're basically holding a pre-state meet anyway. So anyway, it's just some buffoonery here in track. Again, I'm all for getting as many kids as you possibly can. Like, I still think that the B track team should bring 16 kids to state. You know, I think they're like 1 or 2 schools short of the metric, but they need to fix the system so that, I mean, again, I know we're supposed to be like a District 4 supremacy out here, but 6 kids making it, like, I don't know.
There's actually 9 districts.
9 districts, okay. So
But
they probably...
District 8 is just a box around Spokane. It's really weird.
Well, isn't District 2 like half of Seattle? It's
Yeah.
District 3.
Yeah, they're arranged like you start up in the left corner and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, and then 7, 9, and then 8 is just Spokane.
Yeah.
I just want to see some stakes at these district meets. I want and again, we only had the smaller schools, so we didn't get. The 2As looked very competitive. It looked like they were leaving some kids that were some pretty talented kids aren't making state, where everyone and their dog is making it in 2B.
Well, here's what you do for all the running events. You just bring back the champion from last year, the fastest kid that graduated high school, and you put him at the 5 yards behind him with a whip. And he gets to run and whip each one of them. And
Lucas Dahl going behind Max O'Neill.
Anybody that doesn't get whipped gets to go to state. There you go. I fixed track for you.
There, you did it. Well done. You totally fixed it.
What if
I don't
you-
know.
What
And
if
again,
you,
some
what
of
if
it
you
is
broke it by
fixable.
having you? So what if you did it so you have 6 people advance, and then just to break that tie, you figured out you had them rerun a race just against those 6 people, so you could see what they did against the head-to-head with the people who were in the tie with them. You throw out the other runners; those are considered non-league.
Their other races
runners.
don't matter.
Their
though.
other races don't matter.
Yeah.
So just the head-to-head within the teams people that were in.
But you
the
can't
tie.
tell them until afterwards.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, I like this. I like where this is going.
And then at the end, you just have 2 people race for the last spot, even though they didn't realize they were going to have to race for the last spot.
The fact that Centralia came out of that 3-way tiebreaker with Rochester and WF West and is off to state where the other 2 aren't just kind of proves the point that maybe they were onto something. The system works.
What did they know?
You guys didn't want to admit it, but
Crazy.
anyway, anything else? Where are you guys headed this week?
Josh is going to Yakima to cover everything. and I'm
And
going to Bellingham.
To kick back and relax and watch a couple baseball games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
he's getting me back for the basketball setup where I just followed WF West and Tumwater and he died.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I did. I got resurrected. It was like a Gandalf the White situation when I came back from my first softball game. I'm like, oh yes, Alec, that was my name.
You're going to Tumwater tomorrow for golf? Or
Oh
Wednesday?
yeah. I'm going to that tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'll also have track up in Yakima. That'll be fun.
There's also state tennis in Seattle, the Nordstrom Center, probably.
Yeah,
Are we getting college kids to work for us?
maybe. We'll see. Probably not.
All right. Okay. Well, on that note, we're going to close it out.
On
and
that awkward silence.
we'll be back in a week to tell you who won state.
for our last episode.
Yeah, we'll probably take the summer off.
Love that for us.
All right. See you guys later.